So a question that no one has ever asked me, but that I intend to answer, is what's the difference between a motorcycle costing £18,000, the BMW R1250 RT on my left, and a motorcycle costing £4,500, the Royal Enfield Himalayan. So let's just say something first off. Just as if you have a Ferrari costing £500,000 or a Skoda costing you £20,000, they do exactly the same job. And if you're in the traffic, no one goes any faster than the other, they're all stuck together. Of course, now if you have a motorcycle, we all filter, but they both fundamentally do the same thing: two-wheel transport. So the question for this video is that worth £14,000 more than that? So let's start off with the BMW. Watchers of my channel will know that my time with this bike hasn't always been smooth. So it's now 12 months old, it's got 5,000 miles on the clock. I've had two major faults, one being the exhaust valve and the second being locked on brakes. So what do you get as standard on the BMW? Well, quite a lot as it happens. Firstly, with this bike, deep in here you get phone charging, wireless phone charging. That is bloody marvellous. I put my phone in, it charges up. Saves an awful lot of fuss. Secondly, standard, the panniers. These things are huge. They will take a full face helmet. So when I go somewhere, get off the bike and want to have a wander, I can just fill up my panniers with everything that I need. Turn it on. Here I have a 10.25 inch dash with all sorts of information on it. Also standard, I get heated grips, a heated seat, although I have to say the heated seat is not very heated. The grips though are marvellous and will boil my hands on setting number 5. Down here what you see then are favourite buttons which I can program, so when I'm whizzing along I can just press these to turn on various things. Most things are operated via my phone. While it all connects together, and here we have, it's all connected quite nicely, I can then enter into certain menus. So, things like media connection, I can listen to music. Navigation, if I connect the navigation up, I then have a full-on map. Give me very, very clear directions. And I can put things in, like my favourites, recent destinations, across motorcycles, start route guidance, and there we go, I have directions really big and clear. It's also given me nice big speedo, directions, everything I could possibly need. This thing is fantastic. Now, the caveat is it doesn't always work. Sometimes it doesn't connect quite as smoothly as this would seem. And it is something that BMW keep working on. It is way much better than it was, and I'd now say 9 times out of 10 everything connects really, really well. I can also, if I come up, I have the ability to split screen, and I can actually have my directions on the right of the screen and a much fuller rev counter, speed and whatever. Personally, this is the setup that I prefer. Find it very, very good indeed. So I also have keyless ignition, so my keys stay firmly in my pocket, or as I tend to do, into this cubby hole over here. Talking about this cubby hole over here, it is waterproof, as is the phone charging one. So far so good. Other functions: engine mode, really, really good engine mode. 4 eco mode, which gives you maximum return on your fuel. Rain reduces the power when the raindrops are falling. Road, standard. And then finally dynamic, which makes this thing a real beast, but it handles. Also, central locking. So, come out, press a key, everything locks, press it again, everything unlocks. Really useful to have. And the finally the feature we have, which I really like, is a little charging slot. So put a D plug in there and you can charge stuff, heated jackets, those sorts of things. So very handy to have. Don't need it for your phone because I have wireless charging already. So for £18,000, what do you get? A motorcycle, massive electronics, luggage, buttons, but overall a motorcycle that is enormous fun and will do pretty much anything. The only thing it won't do really is go off-road, for which we then have our friend the Royal Enfield Himalayan, coming at a grand total of £4,600. But that doesn't tell the full story. What do you get as standard? Well, you pretty much get a motorcycle. So what do you get on here? Well, fuel gauge, a compass, and over here, navigation. The navigation connects to a smartphone and gives you turn by turn. However, I've yet to get it to work. Well, that's not quite right. I've got it to work, but not for long. It connects, it gives me directions for nearly a minute, and then it conks out. So while the navigation doesn't work particularly well, am I bothered? Not really. Quad lock means I can fix my smartphone to it, and I can then have Google Maps give me full directions rather than the simple straightforward turn by turn the Royal Enfield system gives you. Also, by using a power pack, put in this nice little pouch out here, I've got power for my phone for around about 16 hours, which is as long as I'm ever going to ride this for. So while it doesn't have wireless charging, only the BMW has that, it's not a huge issue on a bike of this size and for this purpose. When it comes to things like luggage, you don't get anything as standard, so all my stuff is aftermarket fitted. So since I've had the bike, I have fitted STB Motac Legend luggage, a helmet lock, a battery charger, and a little pouch on the side to do all sorts of things. What it will do, the BMW won't do, is go off-road. And if you look very carefully, you'll see how muddy it is. Even though I've only done about 320 miles on this since the 1st of March when I got it, it has spent a lot of that time bouncing around on little tracks, hence why it's so dirty. This is a go-anywhere motorcycle. And the second thing that it has, the BMW doesn't have, is if it actually falls over, I'm not going to cry too much. If the BMW falls over, I'm going to cry probably a lot, because the cost of fixing the BMW is probably more than the cost of the Enfield in total. What does the Enfield not have? Well, power. The BMW I think makes about 125 brake. This one has 26. So it doesn't go off very quickly. Top speed's about 70-75 miles an hour. Long 60 miles an hour, I'm keeping up with all the stuff I want to keep up, especially around here in the Highlands. But when I go off-road, where I don't really want huge power, when I bounce around down these little tracks, then the power is fine. And the bike is really well balanced. I can get up on the pegs, ride these little, and explore these little places, and have a great time. So with the BMW, you get a lot. The build quality is outstanding. The reliability, I've had some mixed experiences. The dealer backup and the support tend to be pretty good. They're responsive to customers, I'd say generally pretty poor. Royal Enfield, the build quality is okay. There are quite a few sort of rough welds on it where you think some compromises have been made, but generally it's screwed together pretty well. On this bike you need a smartphone to connect the other together. On this bike you also need a smartphone if you actually want to have the sat nav. And on both bikes the connectivity breaks occasionally. More so on this than on this, but this has had lots of problems with connectivity, and I'm sure Royal Enfield will fix it. But does it really matter on this? No, it doesn't really matter. Does it matter on this? Yes, it does. Because this is the bike where touring is going to be a big thing. This bike is where touring may not be such a big thing. But as I've shown in the video, a quad lock on here gets over the problems. In fact, actually a quad lock on here, which I will be fitting fairly soon, will also help get over any problems should connectivity go. So I suppose the question is then, which one's better? Well, that one. The BMW is the better bike by a long haul. Is it worth £14,000 more? Yes, it is. You just get so much more. All the tech, the comfort, the distance, the modes, the speed, the handling. It is the better motorcycle. But this is enormous fun. And for what I want it for, that's exactly what it says on the tin. I'm not going to take this to England on a big trip, where I will take this one to England on a big trip. But this one won't go down country lanes, but that one will go down. It is the better motorcycle. The final question is, which one would I keep? If I could only have one bike, I'd have the BMW, because it does everything. However, if I could only have one bike for the next 10 years, can't change, I'd have that one. And I'll tell you why. While this is brilliant, it does go wrong, and when it goes wrong, it properly goes wrong, and you lose it for quite a long time. And I don't have any faith in BMW for its long-term reliability. I know I get loads of arguments against this. Me, don't keep BMWs longer than 3 years. Whereas this, if I had to, this would last me forever. So if it came to a choice of what bike to have right now, as long as I could change it in another year or so, that would be it. But if I could only have one bike until the day I die, and I wasn't allowed to change, then the Himalayan would win. Thank you for watching.